Hello everyone and welcome to Grey Owl Entertainment. And today, this is Grey Owl Reviews. I'm Kobi, and we're going to talk about Venom. Joy. So Venom is the official first entry in Sony's Spider-Man-less cinematic universe. It's also the first live-action film to feature Venom in his own solo movie, and the first film since 2007's Spider-Man 3 to feature the character. So judging this as a casual Spider-Man fan, I'm not really well versed in the comics, but I mostly know Spider-Man from the films and the occasional book that I used to own as a kid. For this film, it's okay. It's not groundbreaking, it's not a masterpiece, it's not amazing, but it's by no means a good movie. It really is a perfect example of a film almost being behind the times. It really does feel like a film that was made for the early 2000s. It has the generic plot lines, it has the basic character arcs, well, not even character arcs, more of the archetypes, and of course it has the generic villains, the generic backstories. I think the worst crime it does is it's very generic. It's what you expect. If someone was to describe this movie to you, it would be the plot. That is the plot. There's no cool twists to it. It's just basic. In terms of character-wise, again, nothing to stand out. The only real thing that you'll leave this film with is the chemistry between Tom Hardy and the symbiote. Because Tom Hardy is clearly enjoying himself in this role, regardless of what you think of his performance, or his accent, or how he portrays the character. He's entertaining to watch. Talking about Venom 2, the most accurate interpretation of the character from the comics we've had. Minus the giant spider, but quite frankly that doesn't bother me too much. He looks great, but again, characterization, it's clearly not the Venom from the comics. Because I think we all know the main problem with this film is that it's not what it is. It's being advertised as the film that has no superheroes in it. It's meant to be the film about this anti-hero. If you're going to see this film expecting the character to be dark, menacing, biting people's heads off, it's not this film. He bites people's heads off, but it's off screen most of the time. And when you do see the occasional head chomp, it's bloodless. Basic PG-13 really, which is the main big flaw for this film, because if you're going to do a Venom film, the most obvious thing in the world would be to have it be rated R. It's a character, I mean, just look at the character. Say what you will about kids liking him, the character was designed for a R-rated superhero film. I mean, look at Logan, look at Deadpool, characters that thrive in that environment. When you look at the story, you look at the characters, you look at the execution, and you think this is what people were paid to make. Again, you look at fan ideas, you look at stuff you can read on the internet, even stuff that other directors have talked about. There's so much you can do with this story about an anti-hero who shares traits with Spider-Man. And yet they go for the basic, I'm a down-to-earth guy, and I get this gift, and I use this gift, and it turns out the gift is very similar to me. Not in any way related to the character of Venom. The only thing they do now, again, is the chemistry, but again, there's certain bits of that can be very out of nowhere for the character if you're familiar with the comics. Going into the other characters, they're, again, basic, really. You've got love interest, she's just there to fill the basic quota of the girlfriend arc. And she does have one memorable scene with the symbiote. That's about it. She's also got a boyfriend in the film later on. And I will say this, the one thing that I did like about this is that it doesn't go for one of the other basic tropes of the early 2000s where you get the arsehole boyfriend who's meant to be a rival to the main character. It's nice that this guy is generally a good bloke, and he even tries to help Eddie throughout certain points of the film. Again, in certain sense, you can try and think that, oh, they're trying to kind of indicate that he would be an arsehole and that Eddie would hate him, but thankfully not, so that was nice. And then we get to the villain. What else to say? What was his motivation? Again, and even at the end of the film when he becomes Riot, the rival symbiote, I get it. In the comics, Riot is also grey, but you don't think that they could have just changed his colour up? I mean, heck, they had a yellow symbiote in the film as well, which I think was meant to be Scream. So by all means, they could have just used that to make him a bit more distinct. But of course they don't, so what happens now? You've got a generic villain with a generic bad guy as his own symbiote now, and you can't even tell the difference between him and Venom now, because the end of the fight is pretty much just a big CGI DC fight. It really was hard to tell which one was which at certain points, because it was just so fast, and the villains were just so alike. And there's also talk of Carnage. I've been theorising for months that he was going to be in the film. It was likely going to be a tease for a sequel. Lo and behold, it was. And Woody Harrelson plays the character with one of the most stupidest and obvious wigs I've ever seen. Literally, he looks like an older version of Carrot Top. But yeah. He's given generic lines. Oh, he even says at the end, "Oh, when I get out, there will be carnage. See what I did there, audience? See? I'll see you in the sequel." Basic plots, basic character arcs, basic characters. You know, if someone asked me if they were going to make a Venom film, I would have been behind it. If it was behind the MCU. If it was behind Marvel Studios, if it was going to have Tom Holland in it, and if they were going to do something with the character that was faithful but also interesting and different. This film does neither of those. It's executed so generically, some points very poorly, but it's entertaining. It's making money, which is good in a way, but also a shame, because again, it's opening doors for Sony to make more of these films. And again, you look at their track record before with Spider-Man and how they handled the characters. Spider-Man's in a good place, I think, right now. They should just stick with him at Marvel Studios and let Sony do some other stuff. Maybe let them do some minor villain characters and not have to try and build a universe. Heck, if they're going to do Morbius next, so why not just stick with those kind of characters? If they're going to do more Venom, then by all means they should just keep it contained to this world with Venom. Don't introduce Spider-Man down the line, at least not Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Heck, if they're going to go ahead and do Kraven's Last Hunt, change Spider-Man's role for Venom. Have Venom be the one Kraven has to hunt, and maybe let him get the symbiote. This film does look like it's going to get a sequel. What else can you just say, but I just hope they learn from this. If they are going to commit to Carnage, the best thing they can do is maybe get a different director, let the team behind it be more creative, let Tom Hardy do his own thing, make sure it's R rating, make Carnage be a big deal, and let the relationship between Eddie and Venom develop. Don't try and add in a subplot with She-Venom again, don't try and add anything else that could distract from the main arc. The next film, if they're going to go forward, it has to be about Venom and Carnage and Eddie. But if they're going to do Spider-Man down the line, they've got to use Andrew Garfield. I feel like if you're going to go anywhere near the MCU Spider-Man, it's a risk of damaging their own continuity. This iteration of Venom is not a character I would like to see in the MCU going forward, but I would not mind seeing him again in a solo film of his own. I would recommend this film if you're eager to see Venom brought to life, but I'd also recommend you go in with low expectations. It's an okay film, but it is up there with the Blade Trinity. It's up there with all those films that we would like to watch with a group of friends and occasionally make fun of, but enjoy ourselves while doing it. At the end of the day, this film is enjoyable, but it's very generic, and it's not a film worth seeing or paying unless you're really just curious. I recommend it, but I would also go and see Halloween. That would be a lot more interesting and a lot more entertaining than this. So yeah, I hope you all like this video. You can kind of already guess this is another spur of the moment video, because I've got some other stuff planned down the line, but again, a review wasn't on the tables. But hey, it was nice talking about the film, it was nice seeing it. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, let me know, and I'll see you around soon. Goodbye.